Yes, thousands of cookies, or stacks and stacks of bone meal, or even bone blocks. So many bone blocks, so much bone meal, and I don't even have to find or take apart a fossil. How did I do it? Let's start from the beginning. First, I had to find a big enough area for the cookie farm, which isn't always easy since the average non-super flat Minecraft world is naturally generated with terrain that isn't very flat. One way or another, if I want to clear out space to build large structures, land development and flattening is something I always have to do. That means clearing out even the slightest bits of elevation and other hills and putting dirt or grass over them. This also means that the spots on the ground that used to have hills would have stone or something just one block down. I could dig the stone out so the dirt and grass layer is 3 or 4 blocks thick, but that's not very practical since nobody else would ever know or notice on this unless they actually dug the block to check. Anyway, first you decide how much space you need and build like a marker of blocks so you know the exact area to clear. The marker could be made with, say, slime blocks. I pick slime blocks because they're very easy to remove. You can use another common block, whatever you want, as long as you can remove the marker when you're done. Besides digging out any hills or blocks in the way, there is also making the surrounding area look nice, similar to how Minecraft has a biome blending mechanic that stops the land from looking unnatural and cut through. Doing all this in survival is a grueling task, followed by actually building the thing, but it's worth it. Of course, you'll have to get all the necessary materials too. But if you're a passionate and dedicated Minecraft player who's willing to put in the time, then go for it! The whole idea is to have a large enough flat area amidst an entire surrounding area that is otherwise not flat at all. Once you've cleared out the space you need, like I said, you should make it look nicer. Though this is technically up to you. Your world. It's your world. Alright, so the surrounding area from where I'm going to build the farm doesn't exactly look natural. Looks like a wide set of stoops, but it still looks better than as if it were stone walls resulting from cutting through the land. Alright, so this is the foundation for the cookie farm. It's a 45 by 45 area. It has a total of 17 9 by 9 areas of hydrated farmland. The glowstone is to keep the area around the trees illuminated. It will be covered by moss when it's complete. The roof of the structure will also illuminate the wheat. More on that when we get there. Alright, the cookie farm is complete. Now we just need to grow some wheat and cocoa beans. We'll need some seeds, and at least one cocoa bean from a jungle somewhere. You should have at least one seed if you clear away a lot of grass to set the foundation. And the cocoa bean and the jungle, that's up to you. The fence gates are jungle wood, and the walls and the roof are made of mud brick. If I were you and I was building this in survival, I would start planting seeds and cocoa beans while I took the time to set up all the farmland, and not just getting all the materials needed, but also using them to actually build the thing. The glowstone underneath the wheat keeps the wheat illuminated so that it will always grow regardless of the time of day outside. Lily pads are the most optimal method of covering up the single water blocks in each 9 by 9 area, consisting of 80 hydrated farmland blocks each. You wouldn't believe what I did to get this many jungle trees to grow together like this. The leaves are all natural. They're not persistent. I didn't place them. They grew this way. And the shape is perfect. No missing leaves. Why? Because I happen to be someone who knows their way around. I'm just someone who knows their way around commands like /fill and /clone. If you're doing this in survival, then you're going to have to place many of these leaves manually or even build the trees from scratch, since it would be hard as heck to make them grow the way I have them here. I messed around with the world's random tick speed for the sake of demonstrating this, but the actual results to building this into survival can and will vary. But don't you mind me, I'm just going to continue to harvest all this wheat and then plant new wheat for the practice. As an optional step, you can use a tool with the fortune enchantment to get more seeds to either fill the farm faster or get more compost. Up to you. Every surface of the jungle trees making up the farm's inner ring has a cocoa bean growing on it, as intended. We need to finish planting wheat in the entire outer ring as well as the middle before we can check out the best part of this farm. Each 9x9 section is composed of 80 farmland blocks, hydrated by a single water block in the center that needs a lily pad covering it to prevent falling in. There are a total of 17 9x9 farmland areas. That is a total of 1,360 wheat. And there are 24 cocoa bean trees making up the inner ring. 16 cocoa beans per tree. That's 384 cocoa beans. A full harvest of cocoa beans, 3 cocoa beans from each plus replanting 1 for each. That's a harvest of 768 cocoa beans, combined with a full harvest of 1,360 wheat, 2 wheat and 1 cocoa for each set of 8 cookies. 1,360 divided by 2 is 680, so 680.
A few moments later.
This farm gives 5,440 cookies, with 88 cocoa beans left over, which you can use for other things like making brown dye. Okay, now that all the cocoa beans and wheat have been planted, let's check out the best part of the base. As you can see, I hollowed out the entire roof, and under this carpet, the same layer of glowstone that's illuminating the wheat below. You can do whatever you want with all this space. You can add furnaces, chests, beds, whatever you want. Plenty of space for you to make yourself at home right above the growing fruits of your labor. You can also use whatever color carpet you want. This color carpet is just my choice. Hey, you have all those cocoa beans left over. You can use brown. You can make brown carpet. I added a trapdoor here that's attached to the tree so you can cross over the tree and into the area in the center. You can do whatever you want with the center area. But here's what I did. I turned it into a library with an enchanting table. Regular normal bookshelves around the enchanting table to maximize the enchantments you get from it. A total of 15, and the rest of the area you can add more decorative bookshelves or even chiseled bookshelves that you can actually use to store books. Completely up to you if this is what you decide to do with this space. Remember to have an axe with silk touch for good measure since these bookshelves tend to break without it. Oh yeah, I added a lightning rod to the middle of the farm, right up there on the roof. I know the roof is made of mud and not wood, but you can't be too careful, especially if you use wood to make this roof instead, which I would definitely not recommend. I picked mud bricks because they're relatively new to Minecraft. It looks nice, it doesn't burn like wood, and it doesn't look ugly like cobblestone. Alright, so in summary, what I have here is a giant cookie farm. Technically a massive wheat and cocoa bean farm that doubles as a Minecraft base. It's not the most discreet base, and I would never recommend building anything like it in a PvP server. But if you're in a survival world, even a hardcore world, then this would definitely be an option. And because this farm is protected, and the base is elevated, this farm is also a safe place to be away from your typical night monsters you probably had to fight off while you were clearing out land and building this thing. Once we have all our cookies... No, Cookie Monster, sorry, but these cookies aren't for eating. I mean, technically you could eat them, but it's very impractical. We're talking stacks upon stacks, chest full of cookies, chestfuls of cookies. Who would need this many cookies for eating? No, sir. We put the cookie... besides you, Cookie Monster. Anyway, let's stop going off script. We put the cookies into the composter. I attached a bunch of chests and hoppers together to automate the process, but even with this, I recommend making multiple sets of automatic composters like the ones I got here to speed up the composting process. In no time, you'll end up with several stacks of bone meal. A full harvest of 5,440 cookies with the composting probability of 85%. That's 5,440 multiplied by 0.85, then divided by 7 for the number of compost levels needed for 1 bone meal. That's an average of 660.571429 bone meal, or 660 rounded down. According to that, accounting for that much bone meal exactly, that is enough for more than a full stack of bone blocks. 73 bone blocks, 1 stack plus 9 blocks with 3 bone meal left over. This is the output for a full harvest, with some cocoa beans left over, with a base built into the roof to give yourself something else to do while you're waiting for all of it to grow. Alright, we're back in my test world. What I have here is an early version of the cookie farm. As you can see, the farm didn't initially have a roof illuminating the wheat. The jungle trees are also 6 blocks tall instead of 4, which is why I included scaffolding. These trees are too tall for the comfort of the harvest. The walls are made of ugly cobblestone. At least the gates are made of fire retardant crimson wood though. We also have composters with hoppers connected to chests in place of all the lily pads, which is really superfluous because I would have a single automated composter in one place, so you don't have to go all the way around. Very early design. Flawed compared to what I've been showing you before, but hey, if I didn't make this, I would have never thought to come up with what I showed you before. That is process. That is the human mind at work. Just for fun, I used the bone blocks I got while harvesting this farm to build my own artificial fossil because I currently don't feel like wandering out into a desert or swamp to dig up my own right now. The question you're probably asking now is, what am I going to do with all this bone meal? I'll be happy to show you in my next Minecraft video. In the meantime, click that like button, smash that subscribe button, which hopefully lit up when I said that. Maybe leave a comment with your own thoughts about this, and stay tuned. This is MM54321 of MM Gaming. For more Minecraft content from me, check out one of these other videos.